So guys, this is our 15 Drag Pak, 354 supercharged. There's an interesting story with this car. It actually stemmed from a magazine article. Patrick Rawl wrote an article on our record-setting red Charger, and I had talked about in there never being able to find one of these cars. I would like to purchase one. Well, the owner of this car reached out to me on Facebook and said he had one that he was willing to sell. So I went to my Dodge dealership, local here, Sulphur Springs Dodge. They're one of my partners as well. They managed to get the car deal done on this car, and we went to Connecticut to get it. We actually had to buy a trailer, an enclosed trailer, because I didn't own one at the time, to go get it because there was a snowstorm coming in. And we brought this car home, and it has quickly grown to be one of my favorite cars. So the owner decided to sell it to us because he had read about me in a magazine article and seen that I had owned pretty much every supercharged variant of Mopar, from the Track Hawk to the Demon to the regular Hellcats, and then he saw the Charger. And so he reached out to me because he knew that I would hold on to the car and I would race the car, and that was important to its owner. He's a very nice guy. I believe the car was it had been sitting for a few years. It had the same problem as a Copo with C16 fuel. It currently runs E90 as well, and everything's gotten better since we went to E90. When we went to E90, we did something similar. We put the same pump we have in the Copo, which is the 5 gallon per minute Aeromotive, and then we went to 1700X injectors. I think we may have to go larger on this car. We're gonna have to take it out to the track again and look at injector duty cycle before we decide, yes, we need larger injectors. But it looks that way to me on paper, so we'll test it in theory. So the Mopar Drag Pak is Mopar's version of the Copo Camaro. It's a factory-built race car. It is built from the ground up with a cage, race packs in the dash, all switches, no AC, no power steering. It is a basic race car. That's what it is. It is a extremely well-built car, and this car probably has the softest suspension out of any car I've ever driven. So it hooks rather well even on less than stellar conditions. It is certified for the NHRA. Okay, so the motor setup on this car is still pretty much OEM other than injectors. It has a Whipple 2.9 liter. It is a factory-built race car. This car generates about 18 pounds of boost at full throttle. It redlines at 82 to 8,500, depending on where you're comfortable shifting. I'm probably gonna put an air shifter in it eventually. So the way I wanna do it is I want it set up, these two cars to be set up very similar so parts interchange. And that's a big deal with the racing program. More interchangeable parts mean you can rob parts off one car and put it on another in general. And that saves you a lot of time. You've got an ice box in the rear. Your catch can's in the front on this one. I think we're gonna have to change the catch can because I have a sneaking feeling that it's gonna be too small for E90. So we're gonna run it a couple of rounds, come back around, and then see how much fluid we build up in the catch can. If it's too much, we'll switch to two 8 or 10 AN cans like the Copo has. The E90 is it vaporizes easier than C16 does. So it gets into the CCV system a little worse, and then when the car cools off, all that settles into the catch can. That's the point of the catch can, is to catch some of that fluid. You'll catch a little bit of oil too, because as it gets to high RPM, there's more oil vapors. And then when the car shuts down, those vapors generally get trapped into catch can with the fuel. So what you'll typically do is just drain it between rounds and everything's cool. But we'll have to, if it's getting close to being full, I would rather go ahead and fix it I would rather go ahead and fix it rather than risk crashing because we get catch can material all over my tires. So, and that's another big thing I don't think a lot of guys realize is any fluid on the track will kill you in a heartbeat. Safety number one. So we've had the car since January. We have done most of the maintenance has been due to C16. We've done a couple of oil changes. Mopar recommends changing the oil every 12 to 15 runs. So that's at Watt. I don't know if those are quarter-mile runs. I just assume every time I run it 12 to 15 times, change the oil. The plugs, we changed those probably 8 times, and that was between the month of February and March, and we have not changed them since switching to E90. A lot better there. So, most of the general Mopar parts work for this because at its core, it's a 15 Challenger. Now you can't take a Hellcat motor and put here because this one does not have the spot for a VVT cam. So variable cam, it actually moves. This one does not even have a spot for that. So it makes it a little bit of a challenge there. This one puts out a little over 1,500 horsepower right now. So it's a stout car. It was 1,300 when we got it. The Drag Pak comes with a straight axle, a Ford 9-inch actually, base rear axle, and it's got a 40 spline back there. You should never break that, you know. This motor is a solid roller instead of being a hydraulic. In my opinion, this motor is probably better than most Hellcat based motors because it's simpler, less moving parts, less stuff breaks. It's built from the ground up for racing, which makes a huge difference. So, yep. Yeah, and of course it's got an ice box. Don't make fun of my drain over there that I had to add.
Oh, the thing I had questions on?
Yeah, see the yellow deal over?
Hey, you gotta improvise.
Yeah, well, see they had it right here. Okay, so imagine the car's been running for an hour and then you reach over to try to grab that right next to the headers. And then you pour ice cold water on your, headers. I see problems with that, coming down the road. So my choices were get one of the new style ice boxes like the 2021 Drag Paks have, or just extend that out of the pump. The pump is actually over there anyway. So I just came out of the bottom side of the pump and that's where our drain is now. Okay guys, thank y'all for stopping in on the channel. Like and subscribe. And we're gonna be bringing you more content on all these cars very soon.